A couple weeks ago, I sat down at this desk and I wondered to myself, I was like, what would it look like if the same intentionality that I bring to the history stuff I work on, if I brought that same intentionality to how I read fiction? I'm fascinated by ideas like the enshittification of reading, or this literary crisis, or whatever it is that we're calling it these days, this reckoning with this idea that people aren't reading anymore, or the stuff that they are reading is less good, or whatever that is, however you describe that thing. The thing that I realized in myself was that I was either reading history or I was reading books that were just sort of respites from history. But it wasn't creating this reading experience that I was thoroughly enjoying. It was sort of using reading as a tool, like a spade or a shovel. But it wasn't something that was bringing me a ton of joy, which was it was a weird thing to sort of feel as somebody who has made a lot of content about reading. So I looked inward and I said, okay, what is the problem here? What is the thing that I'm doing wrong that has gotten me in this weird spot? And I think the thing that I realized was that I just wasn't being super intentional about the stuff I was reading. I was kind of picking up popcorn flicks here and there, or I just wasn't putting the same thought or effort into reading fiction as I was with compendium shows, which feels backward, again, because I have a fairly large following on the internet about reading. So I wrote in my newsletter this thing about how basically I wasn't reading the way I wanted to be reading. And out of that, I thought, okay, what can I do to sort of jumpstart and also intentionally force myself through this jumpstart to read some of the stuff that I actually want to read, that I want to, make my brain chew on things a little bit, but be doing it and having fun doing it. Then we arrive at this little stack of books. I consulted with a couple book buddies and I was like, okay, what are some more highbrow literature books? What are some books that have some meat to them that you really enjoy? What should I read? We got these. So I'm doing a bit of a read along with my newsletter right now. These are the books that we're going to be reading over the next month. The first one is this Friday. We're reading Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, but we're also reading Hard Rain Falling by Don Carpenter, White Noise by Don DeLillo, The Stone Door by Leonora Carrington, and a couple short stories by Flannery O'Connor. And what I'm doing with these is on the appointed dates, we have dates when these books are to be finished by, and we're all reading them together, and I'll release a commentary, which is essentially a book review about these books. And what it's going to do for me is it's going to allow me to read with a community that, some of these books that I really want to read, and then I'm going to have to write about them, which is sort of this deadline of how did they land for me? What did I learn from them? What were some of the techniques used? What are some things that we can sort of collectively take away from them, if there is anything, or if there's not, maybe that's notable as well. And then also we get to talk about them. We're going to have a Zoom call with folks that have been taking part in this whole deal. And we get to have this shared communal sort of a thing where we're all reading this together. We're interacting with each other in the comments and sort of hopefully jump-starting reading these books as a reading community, which is, I think at the end of the day, that's kind of the entire point of reading communally. I think the other thing too that this has jogged with me over the past couple of weeks is that I used to write all the time. I've written 4 novels that are just in drawers right now, and they're in varying states of terrible. They're never going to get published or anything like that, but they were sort of stepping stones. And then I kind of paused. I paused because I started the history podcast, because Instagram and TikTok kind of kicked off and there just wasn't enough time. But I've found that through writing this newsletter, I'll write some history here and there and I'll write some personal essays, things like that. But in reviewing these books, spoiler alert, I have finished 2 of the books and I've written commentaries about them already. And just the process of trying to write good prose, writing some personal fiction that's sort of been an offshoot of some of the stuff I've been reading. It's been so fun. I just wanted to read some books, but it turned into a thing where I was reading some books and people have shown a lot of interest in reading some books with other people, go figure. And also it has forced me to write about these books that I'm reading. And I've also started writing some fiction again on the side. And it's just been this whole interesting, weird moment. And I'm very excited about it. So all of that to say, this is kind of an announcement video, I suppose. because we're about to talk about the first book in this lineup of 5. We're about to talk about Of Mice and Men by Steinbeck. If you want to check out those commentaries that go out in my newsletter, I'll leave a link to that in the description. If you want to support all the stuff I do all over the place, you could become a paid subscriber over there, and you'll get access to the Zoom meetings that we're doing where we're talking about these books. There's a handful of us over there, and we're all very excited about it. So if that sounds interesting to you, great. If not, don't worry. I just thought I should come on here and talk about some books. Haven't done that in a while. It feels kind of nice. It feels kind of nice to come on here, talk about books, and not have sort of the short, compressed timeline on it. I don't know. All that to say, I'm pretty excited, pretty stoked, and I've been writing more, and this is a terrible YouTube video, but you know what? Screw it. I'm having a blast. So anyways, see you over there on Substack.